meeting with Brian Clark. Brian is managing partner of the executive search arm of Kensington International. Brian has 20 years of executive search and recruiting experience. He's one of the most qualified experts to answer our questions from the front. Brian, thanks for joining us. Now, what is the current forecast for the infrastructure industry?
Well, we're faced with one situation with infrastructure such that people can look around and see that things are aging a bit. So if we think about infrastructure and construction-related infrastructure, it tends to be things like wastewater and water treatment. It tends to be transportation, highways, bridges, things of that nature. So we're aging a bit, and that's a good sign for those that want to concentrate their efforts on civil engineering and construction related to infrastructure.
Sure. And what levels would you say are expected to increase or decrease? Entry level, mid-level, executive?
Well, that's a good question. I think that the situation such today is that, and going forward probably over the next 5 to 7, perhaps even 10 years, is that there'll be a fair amount of growth at all levels. I would tell you that from an entry-level standpoint, there'll be a lot of opportunities, some which are professional, some not necessarily professional from a training standpoint, all professional nonetheless, but there will be some good opportunities for entry-level across the board. Especially, though, if we begin to think about some of the initiatives that are coming out of the Recovery Act, like high-speed rail and transportation.
Absolutely.
That's an $8 billion price tag, I think, in terms of what was allocated from the Recovery Act. That money is yet to be allocated or spent. Those types of opportunities will be there. There'll be entry-level, there'll be mid-manager, there'll be senior-level roles, lots of construction engineers, lots of construction managers, lots of project work, and then lots of people to support all that. So
sure, the
prognosis is pretty positive for them.
Okay, let's fast forward 10 years. What do you see then?
Well, resources are scarce. Water is scarce. Water needs to be cleaned. It needs to be treated. Wastewater, water treatment, all of those things will continually need to be renewed and expanded and advanced. Don't see that going away. See that being steady going forward. If we also think about infrastructure and power, and I know we'll talk about utilities later, but if you talk about power and you think about how we deliver that power, the infrastructure for the grid is aging. So those types of roles will continue to need to be out there. The grid will get smarter. We'll be able to be much more efficient with what we do. And even 8-10 years out, we'll still have plenty of opportunities from that standpoint as well. Okay,
let's say that you just piqued someone's interest who wants to get into the infrastructure industry. What advice do you give them?
Well, education's critical. Especially if you want to move down the project engineering or the construction engineering or the construction management route. So either an engineering degree or a degree in project management or construction management is very helpful. But there are many ways to get into this business that don't require necessarily education, but require mechanical aptitude and just an ability to work hard and effectively in the field. That's a great entry point for just about anybody if they have an interest in moving that way.
Okay. Brian, thank you very much.
My pleasure.